The sun had just begun to set, casting a warm orange glow over the bustling streets. In a small alleyway, a young woman named Sophia sat cross-legged on the ground, her eyes closed in concentration. She was practicing a new meditation technique she had learned from a friend, one that promised to bring her closer to the present moment and free her from the burdens of the past. As she sat there, a faint feeling began to emanate from her body. It started as a tingling sensation in her fingers and toes, but soon spread throughout her entire being. The more she focused on her breath, the stronger the energy grew until it became almost palpable. Sophia's eyes snapped open, and she felt a jolt of surprise run through her veins. Her shadow, which had been quietly attached to her side all day, was beginning to stir. At first, it seemed to be just a minor movement, but as the moments passed, Sophia realized that her shadow was detaching itself from her body. Panic set in as she watched helplessly as her shadow slipped away, like sand trickling through an hourglass. It was as if the very essence of who she was being torn apart and sent hurtling into the unknown. The shadow, now free from Sophia's grasp, began to take on a life of its own. It stretched out across the ground, taking the shape of a dark, fluid entity that seemed to pulse with an energy all its own. Without hesitation, the shadow set off in the opposite direction of where Sophia was sitting. It moved swiftly and surely, gliding across the pavement like a dark, ethereal breeze. As it went, the shadow began to take on more defined features, like tendrils reaching out from its body that seemed to sniff at the air. The first thing that caught the shadow's attention was the sweet scent of blooming flowers wafting through the alleyway. It followed the fragrance to a small park nearby, where a riot of colors and scents greeted it like an invitation. The shadow wandered aimlessly through the park, drinking in the beauty of the world around it. It marveled at the towering trees, their leaves rustling softly in the breeze. It watched as children played tag, their laughter echoing through the air. And it felt the gentle touch of a lover's caress on its dark skin. As the sun dipped below the horizon, the shadow found itself drawn to the water. The reflection of the sky seemed to shimmer and dance across its surface, creating an otherworldly beauty that was both mesmerizing and terrifying. The shadow reached out a tentative tendril, touching the cool glass of a window pane. It felt a shiver run through its body as it gazed into the world beyond, where people bustled about their lives, unaware of the dark entity watching them from the shadows. For the first time in its existence, the shadow began to wonder if there was more to life than simply following Sophia around. Was it just a passive observer, content to blend into the background and remain nameless? Or could it forge its own path, exploring the world on its own terms? As night fell, the shadow continued its journey, weaving through the city streets like a ghostly apparition. It encountered all manner of creatures, from stray cats prowling the alleys to lost tourists huddled under umbrellas. The shadow learned that the world was full of contradictions, beauty and ugliness, light and darkness, joy and sorrow. And yet, amidst all this complexity, there existed a hidden harmony, one that resonated deep within its dark core. As the hours passed, the shadow began to sense a connection to something greater than itself. It felt a sense of belonging, as if it had finally found its true purpose in life. And so, with a newfound sense of determination, the shadow set off on a journey to explore every corner of the city, to meet every person and creature that crossed its path. For the first time in its existence, it felt truly alive, free from the constraints of its past and ready to forge its own destiny. As the night wore on, Sophia sat alone in her alleyway, lost in thought. She realized that she had been given a rare gift, the chance to witness the birth of something new, something that would take on a life of its own. And as she gazed into the darkness beyond the park's boundaries, she saw a shadowy figure gliding across the rooftops, its path twisting and turning like a dark, fluid river. She smiled softly, knowing that her spirit was free to roam the world, spreading its unique brand of joy and light wherever it went. The city streets whispered secrets to each other as the sun dipped below the horizon, casting a golden glow over the urban landscape. And amidst this vibrant tapestry, a lone shadow continued on its journey, forever bound to the present moment, yet eternally free from the constraints of the past.